Okay, thanks for tuning in on this last segment on In Reality with me, Lina Wati Adnan. This segment, we are going to sum up the whole green theme for this episode by showing you how easy it is for you to take this whole green effort at home. So come with me as we talk about green effort. Hello, Matthias.
Hey Lina,
Hi.
good to see you.
Good to see you again. Thank you for making the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you voted as the greenest person on planet for 2008 from Germany, and you come here in Malaysia. So you have implemented a system at the place you've lived before, and hence we are here to discuss that.
Great.
So what would the system be? What do you have for us today?
Yeah. First of all, welcome in the Seri Raja Chulan condo. We actually were looking at how can we make recycling happen in our condo. My friend Gregers, who originally comes from Denmark, he had already implemented a recycling system just on his floor, and he tried to encourage people to join in. And I was asking the question, can we make it happen in the whole condominium?
Yeah.
So we spoke with a local waste company, but we realized, hey, the key to making it work is the cleaners, actually. Because that is already happening in Malaysia. There's an informing recycling economy. The cleaners make themselves some makan money. They collect the paper, they collect the aluminium. And we realized, well, if we can upscale that, then we can have a functioning recycling system. So that's exactly what we did. We looked at what extra bins do we need, what extra shelves do we need, and how can we make it work. I remember I used to live in Times Square, and I was always carrying my stuff down to the recycle bins in front of Times Square.
Colourful recycling bin, yeah?
One morning I woke up, I walked downstairs, nothing there anymore. Where has it gone, lah? So I was kind of wondering, you know. So it's better if we make it inside and let the cleaners earn a bit more money, because they are going to call up the recycling company. The recycling company is going to pick it up, pay them a little bit of makan money, and that's the way how it
And
works.
we need to clear our rubbish, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll show you how it works here in our condo. This is basically just the overview. This is on every trash room in the whole condo. We have basically a shelf here for the paper and cardboard, then an extra box for batteries and CDs, and then this is the key bin for the recyclable cans and the bottles. Let's open up the thing here and show it to you. There is the shelf up there.
Okay.
We didn't prepare anything, we just took a random level here. You can see the cardboard there. Let me go in here. We have the recycled batteries and CDs. This is quite important because batteries contains heavy metals, so we try and keep them separate. And then down here,
That's that bottles and cans bin.
this is for the bottles and the cans. Now, to implement this cost about 700 ringgit in the whole condo. And you can see here, people have put the aluminium cans in there, the glass bottles and the plastic bottles. And this is going to then be separated by the cleaners. And later on, they are going to sell this to the recycling companies. So it kind of works by itself. It's been implemented since middle of last year. Before, the recycling rate was about, let's say, I think it was about 100 kilo of paper per month. Since we implemented the system, the cleaners have about more than 200 kilos a month of paper, 30 kilos of plastic bottles, and plastic for recycling, and about 40 to 45 of cans, aluminium. So that is the success that we can see in increasing recycling rate. We even did surveys with the condominium residents here, and they're all very happy and excited that we are doing something practical to help Mother Nature.
So
Right?
before you implemented this system, this whole garbage room, little room, was still just one trash bin?
Just the one normal trash bin, and people were throwing everything in there. Unless they were doing some little recycling themselves, or they were carrying it to the floor where Gregers was living, but not a lot of that was happening. The cleaners were collecting some things, but if people put it all in one trash bin, the paper gets contaminated with food waste. Now people keep it separate, and it was easy to get the residents on board, much easier than before. It's kind of working by itself.
Yeah, but it's not something new, right? It's been the thing that we do every single day, throwing out rubbish. It's just sorting them out to make this world a better place to live in. Yeah. So, okay, this is one of the efforts that we can do at home. But how do you address the concern over people thinking that, being green and helping the environment is all about, forking out that money and buying this high technology stuff for their home, but they don't really actually have that green lifestyle. So how do you address that?
I think the big opportunity for everyone out there who is listening today is you can make money by going green. Look at your electricity bill. How high is it? Water, there's a water bill. You know, these things are practical things. Another area where we can save huge amounts of money is often we buy stuff that we don't need.
Yeah.
And then the stuff ends up in the waste bin. So we can save a lot of money by becoming more energy efficient, by preserving water. And energy and water will go up in price in Malaysia, plus by buying less of the things we don't actually really need. So going green can be very good for your pocket.
Yeah, it's not just about burning a hole in your pocket, yeah? Okay, okay, you've been all over the world. So how do you compare the green effort here in Malaysia as to our neighboring countries, say like in the Southeast Asia?
Yeah, I think Malaysia is making significant progress. I see more and more green events. I see more and more green initiatives, green exhibitions. The government is promoting green technology as a new way of generating economic wealth for the future. Because essentially Malaysia has been about extracting what Mother Nature has developed over millions of years.
Yeah.
Oil, gas, timber, and the time is coming where you can't sustain that anymore. Malaysia is going to be a net importer, so we need to shift. It's actually for the wealth of the Malaysian people it's important, but as well, you know, a lot of these events are happening, but sometimes I see a lack of consistency, a lack of shifting your own way of life towards a greener lifestyle. People might go to green events, but still they have a gas-guzzling car, they have a massive energy bill, you know, they might have one family, parents and one child living in a house that can host 10 families. So we need to look at less is more. Do you really need such a big car? And how Malaysia compares with neighboring countries, I think a lot of efforts are going in the right direction. But we need to notch it one notch up, and we need to move away from, you know, just short-term solutions.
All right, that's perfect, Matthias. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
There you have it, Matthias Gerber, the greenest man on the planet for 2008. Like Captain Planet say, the power is yours and it's in your hands, so take control over it. With that, I say see you next week on In Reality.